the ACLU. So it's a much more diverse and I think far more qualified than the narrow right-wing people who Trump continued to pick. And as Senator Durbin will tell you, we're going to be able to restore a lot of the balance to the courts because there's a whole lot of vacancies that we are going to fill. Later today, we're going to finish the U.S. Innovation and Competition Act. And the Senate's busy. That's one of the most major and significant pieces of legislation we've passed in a long time, which is going to have a huge effect on the future of the American economy and American jobs. It's the largest investment in scientific research and technological innovation in generations. It sets the United States on a path to lead the world in the industries of the future. I look forward to working with Speaker Pelosi and the committees in both chambers to get this on the President's desk. After that vote, we'll have the first procedural vote on the Paycheck Fairness Act, which Senator Murray has been spearheading. In my view, this straightforward, unobjectionable piece of legislation should merit bipartisan support. All 50 Democrats are co-sponsors, all 50. Right now in America, women earn about 82 cents for every dollar a man makes. The gap's even wider for women of color. Even with similar education backgrounds, black and Latina women earn only 65 to 70% of what a white man makes. Many women with advanced degrees make less than their male counterparts who don't have them. Will our Republican colleagues step up to the plate and join us to advance this common sense legislation that is overwhelmingly popular with the American people, men and women? Or will Republicans block the Senate from even debating equal pay for women, just like they blocked the January 6th commission? Senator Durbin.
Thanks, Senator Schumer. And I want to say that the Senate Judiciary Committee is in the thick of things. We have a lot of issues before us, not the least of which is the case of filling the judicial vacancies across this country. We estimate in the coming months we're going to have over 100 vacancies at district and circuit court level that need to be filled. We are committed, as is President Biden, to bringing well-qualified, competent, diverse nominees to be considered by the Judiciary Committee. As he mentioned, we finished one today. We hope to finish the second one soon. We have 2 other circuit nominees pending before the Senate who I think are excellent, one for the D.C. Circuit, one for the 7th Circuit, and more to follow. I spoke today at our luncheon encouraging members across the board to put their committees together if they haven't already and to measure the qualifications of the many people who should be considered for lifetime appointments to the bench. Secondly, we have other issues of great moment. We are in the midst of the very delicate but critically important negotiations on the policing bill. And leading our effort is Cory Booker as subcommittee chair of the crime subcommittee. He's working closely with Tim Scott, Republican senator from South Carolina, and Karen Bass, a Democratic congresswoman from the state of California. They are at a very delicate moment, and they may be just days away, I hope, fingers crossed, of coming up with something positive, which we want to be sure happens. I am working as well in a bipartisan group to see if we can get the immigration bill moving, any immigration bill moving this year. There is a positive sentiment toward it. We're going to try to do it on a bipartisan basis, if possible. If not, we'll look to other alternatives and many other issues that we are taking up. The point is this. This is a Senate that is determined to be active and productive. We are doing our best to reach out to the other side of the aisle for a bipartisan approach to as many issues as possible. I think that is what the American people are looking for, and that's what we want to deliver. Thank you, Senator.
Senator Murray.
Thank you. Well, here's the thing. The wage gap still exists in every state in our country. And that means that each United States senator represents people who are, as we speak, experiencing pay discrimination. Women in the United States of America still earn, on average, 82 cents for every dollar that their male counterparts make. And that wage gap is even more pronounced for women of color. For example, over the course of just 1 year, the wage gap for Latina women averages almost $30,000 less as compared to what a white man earns. That's a huge amount of money. It's groceries, it's housing, it's an education, it's savings for their retirement. It could be life-changing. And it's a true injustice that workers across our country are being shortchanged. Rather than getting the pay that they deserve so they can live their lives, support their families and themselves without so much stress and struggle. As we know, the pandemic has really set women, in particular women of color, back even further and made clear just how urgent it is for us to act. Fair pay for your work is just not too much to expect, and it is needed now more than ever. Luckily, very soon, each of us in the United States Senate will have an opportunity to right this wrong with our votes on the Paycheck Fairness Act. This bill is very straightforward. It closes loopholes that allow pay discrimination to continue. It protects workers from retaliation for discussing their pay. It limits the use of prior wage history in the hiring process so that pay discrimination can't follow workers from job to job. And it increases transparency and accountability, so workers know whether they're being paid fairly, so they have the evidence to hold their employers accountable if they are not. These are very simple steps, which is why this bill already passed the House with bipartisan support and the support of every single Democrat. So the question in front of us is going to be really simple. Do you believe every worker, regardless of who they are, should be paid fairly for their work, or not? I know they should. I know that's what Senate Democrats agree with, and I'm really hoping that Senate Republicans listen to their constituents who are experiencing the same wage discrimination ours do, and vote for this very long overdue solution that will help women, will help workers, and it will help our economy as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Murray. Senator Stabenow.
Well, first I
Part
want.
of the orange
Yes,
group
that's right.
of this leadership as opposed to the blue group.
Well, first I want to thank.
State colors, blue and orange.
Just ignore him. Don't.
Try if you might.
Well, first I want to thank Senator Murray for her work over the years. This is a really important day. It's going to be a really important vote. And frankly, women in Michigan and across America have been waiting long enough. It's time to pass the Paycheck Fairness Act. Consider a Michigan single mom who's raising two young daughters. Last year's been tough, trying to do her job remotely, keep track of the kids in terms of school. Meanwhile, if she's anything like the average American woman, she's earned just 82 cents for every dollar earned by her male coworkers doing the exact same job. And if she happens to be a woman of color, she's probably earned a whole lot less. This wage gap means that by the time she retires, she will have earned at least $400,000 less. $400,000 less than the guy in the next cubicle. That's money she could use to pay the bills, save for a down payment on the house, send the kids to summer camp or music lessons for her daughters. And when it comes to retirement, that missing $400,000 even means she receives less Social Security benefits. So this is serious for women in this country. It's unfair, it's wrong, it needs to change now. Now is the time to pass the Paycheck Fairness Act. You know, in Michigan, we tell our daughters that they can be anything they want to be when they grow up. Let's make sure that includes being paid as well as our sons. This question, the real question today is, will our Republican colleagues join us? Will our Republican colleagues join us in standing up for women in this country? I hope they will.
Thank you, Senator Stabenow. Questions?
The committees this morning put out their January 6th report. I'm wondering how what's in that report and what's not in that report will affect how you'll push for a commission going forward.
Well, we do believe there ought to be a commission to go forward. They almost assiduously avoided the two words that are vital to finding out what happened on January 6th, Donald Trump. The Republicans reportedly didn't want any mention of him at all. And to find out, I think we should find out if other members of Congress participated in this as well. So there's a whole lot. They did a great job on the report, but that deals with the immediate security needs. There's a much deeper and more important, or just as important, story as to how this happened, who was responsible, and what should be done, both to bring them to account and to make sure it doesn't happen again. Yes?
Good afternoon. Thank you. You talked about a lot of bills that you're going to bring to the floor, or try to bring to the floor in the next few days, next few weeks. but you didn't necessarily say you were going to pass these bills besides the China and science technology bill. Is it really the Democratic agenda? Won't we know here in a couple of weeks if the agenda is stunted?
Well, look, we believe America needs big, bold action in a whole variety of areas, and we're going to work hard to get the votes for the biggest, bold action that we can get. And in the past, our caucus has stayed unified and produced that big, bold action for the country. The ARP is extremely popular, even in the most of Republican areas, and we're going to continue to pursue doing just that. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
President Biden has presented Congress with a budget that proposes running $14.5 trillion in deficits over the next decade. Will Congress ever balance the budget, yes or no?
Well, the president's proposal does have pay-fors in it that balance the budget. Now, he wisely, in my opinion, had a 15-year stretch out of the pay-fors and only an 8-year of the spending, because when your economy is in a hole, as COVID has put us in, you need to get that money pumped into the economy. But I believe, no, I believe that he's doing the right thing. Yes, yes.
Get a heads up from Senator Manchin about his op-ed over the weekend, and what is the path forward on voting rights?
Okay, let me answer both. First, I don't talk about my private conversations with Senator Manchin. We will vote on voting rights legislation, bold legislation, S1, when in the last week in June. Now, is it possible we might change a few things here and there? We're going to do it. We've had discussions with Senator Manchin, and they're continuing. Yes.
Assuming that the U.S. Innovation and Competition Act passes today, what do you expect the House to do with it? Do you think there's going to be some major changes?
I've already talked to Speaker Pelosi and Congressmember Eddie Bernice Johnson about this. The House proposal is closer to the final product that we put forward on the USICA. It is no longer called Endless Frontiers Act. Now, I love that name, but some people thought it had to do with covered wagons or something. So we changed it to USICA, United States Innovation and Competition Act. And so as USICA has moved forward, it's come closer to the House bill. It's in President Biden's agenda, and I'm quite certain that we will get a really good product on the president's desk. Yes.
On voting rights, Senator Manchin says that he favors the Jonathan Lewis Voting Rights Act. Would you bring that legislation to the floor?
Well, I don't know if you heard, but Speaker Pelosi put out a letter to her colleagues just a couple hours ago that said S4, because of its constitutional difficulties and upcoming court cases, will not even be ready by the fall. So we're going to put S1 on the floor. As I said, we're open to changes and modifications as long as it does the job. Okay? Last question. No, not you, Manu. You had one last week.
Are you confident that this bipartisan group of senators, including Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema, who are working on a new infrastructure proposal, will present something that reflects the views of your caucus? Well,
look, we're pursuing a two-path proposal. On the one hand, there's bipartisan negotiations, and those are continuing. The first were between President Biden and Senator Capito with just Republicans. Those seem to be running into a brick wall. But a bipartisan group led by Senator Sinema, and I think Senator Portman is the lead Republican, are trying to put something together that might be closer to what the president needs. And so that's good. But that's not going to be the only answer. We all know as a caucus we will not be able to do all the things that the country needs in a bipartisan way. And so at the same time, we are pursuing the pursuit of reconciliation. And that is going on at the same time. And it may well be that part of the bill that will pass will be bipartisan, and part of it will be through reconciliation. But we're not going to sacrifice the bigness and boldness in this bill. We will just pursue two paths, and at some point they will join. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Hey, Senator Durbin. Seems to be ready. Didn't say isn't recall, but it seems to.
Ideal time for it.
Is there an effort to try and get Senator Manchin those discussions with the town bill and do some amendments so that
Well, as Chuck mentioned, yesterday,
I only counted 5 mansions.
so, express themselves.